welcome to Appalachia Rising. We have a wonderful guest with us today who I've known for a couple of years. Her name is Shawne Wells, and she comes to us today from living here in the community of Pikeville for several years. So Shawne, welcome.
Thank you.
It's
Thanks
great
for
to have
having
you
me.
here. I think what I'd like to do is start off, just tell us a little bit about who you are. Where did you grow up, and how did you find yourself in this lovely little town?
Well, I'm from the Appalachian Mountains myself.
Okay.
I grew up in the community of Delbarton, West Virginia.
Where's Delbarton, West Virginia?
It's just about an hour from here,
Okay.
actually, on the Mingo Pike border.
Okay, so toward Williamson
Yes,
and
if you go past Williamson, you go
Yes.
past Belfry, past Williamson,
Okay,
Delbarton,
Right.
real small town. I went to Birch High School.
okay,
And so Kelly, and then from Birch High School, I played basketball there.
Okay.
It was a big part of my high school years.
right.
And so from there, I got a scholarship to Morehead State, basketball
Got
scholarship.
it. Okay.
Yes, and so that's actually where Kelly and I met.
And Kelly is?
My husband, I'm
Right.
sorry.
No, it's okay. No,
And so,
people who listen to this are probably not from Appalachia, so.
Right, okay,
Yeah, I mean,
so,
around here, you and Kelly are, legendary, but,
but-
yeah. So Kelly Wells
So
is your husband.
Is my husband, and we both were there at Morehead State University
Right.
on a basketball scholarship,
Okay.
and so that's our journey. I worked really hard in high school, actually, to get that basketball scholarship. That
Sure.
was my way to pay for my college education.
Mhm. Did you play for 4 years at Morehead State?
I did.
Excellent.
Yep, I did.
Were they a successful team in those days?
We had our ups and downs.
Okay.
We didn't always have a winning record, but I met some of my closest friends
Sure.
through my basketball team, who we still stay in contact with, even now.
Right.
Some of those, wonderful relationships, and traveled a lot through that basketball team and got a free education.
That's
which,
right.
never goes away.
No, it doesn't. And
Yeah.
in some ways, you kind of paid for it by playing basketball, but
Absolutely.
yes, you
I
were
put
there.
my time in.
Yeah, and Kelly played there all 4 years as well, right?
No, actually, Kelly, his first scholarship was at the University of Tulsa.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
he went
Okay.
there his freshman year,
Uh-huh.
and then he started there his sophomore year, and then he ended up coming back to Morehead State.
Okay, got
And
it.
so we met after that.
And
yeah.
Kelly's dad had a role in that in some way. He's a basketball coach, but is it a high school?
He was the women's coach at Morehead State before
That's right.
I was there.
Okay,
Yes, it was before I was there. He retired before I got there.
I knew there was linkage in there
Yeah,
somewhere, but I
somewhere
wasn't
in
sure of
there.
the timing
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah.
All right, good.
And so from there, we lived in Maysville, Kentucky.
You were married at this
And
time?
Yeah, we were married
Okay.
at that time. We went
All
to
right.
Maysville, Kentucky, and then we spent 2 years in Hawaii. As he
2
was
years
a,
in Hawaii?
Yeah, Honolulu, Hawaii. He
Okay.
was a basketball coach at Hawaii Pacific University.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
That's a fine, small liberal arts college
Yes.
in the islands out there.
Downtown was
Yes.
his office downtown, and I taught there. I taught special education,
Okay,
Jefferson Elementary,
Right.
in Oahu, and our daughter Kaylee was there with us. And then we moved back here when Kelly got the job at then Pikeville College
Right.
as the basketball coach, and now University of Pikeville.
How many years ago was it that you moved back to Pikeville?
It was just over 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Just about 12 and a half years. Our son was born here the summer we moved back here. That's how
Okay.
I keep up with it.
That's right.
So he's about 12 and a half years old.
Yeah, he is. And he's grown like a weed, isn't he?
He is,
Yeah,
yes.
every time I see him, it seems like he's grown 2 inches.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so that brought us back here to these beautiful, beautiful mountains. I
That's
think
right.
every place has its own little bit of beauty to it, and the mountains are beautiful.
They get into your soul, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, they really do. They just kind of
Yeah.
get all around you. And then how many years, because Kelly was here for 12 years, but then somewhere in that journey, Kelly got sick.
He
So do you
did.
want to talk
Well,
about that a little bit?
Kelly, and Kelly's journey with his kidney disease is called IgA nephropathy.
Okay.
Now, if I said that wrong, then don't. I think that's right. But
It
if you
sounds
look it
right
up
to
and
me.
you go to dictionary.com and you may say it for you, it may be pronounced
Okay.
wrong, but I think that's how you say it. But now it was actually diagnosed in college.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Got it.
And and that disease progresses the longer you have it.
Okay.
And it's a gradual progression, and then it cuts off towards the very end of
Right.
the disease. And so with that disease, his first kidney transplant was right after Kaylee, my daughter, who just turned 16 this past summer. She was 1.5.
Okay.
And he had a kidney transplant then.
So was this still in Hawaii or was this
No,
back
this
here?
was when we lived in Maysville, Kentucky.
Okay, so before you even went to
Before we
Hawaii.
went to Hawaii.
Got it.
And then we had that transplant, and then, he was doing great. He was healthy and feeling good. And then, things happened, and he got the opportunity to go to Hawaii, and we're thinking, life's great. Let's do it.
Yeah, right.
Let's go. And that's a all different kind of beauty in and of itself, and we enjoyed it while we were there.
Yeah.
But, you have your daughter who's 2, 3, 4, so far away from family, and we wanted to get her back closer to home.
Right, sure.
And so then, as we had that span of time, maybe about 10 years, where Kelly felt really good. His kidney was doing well, and then his disease started coming back slowly. We tried to maintain it, and we tried to do things with medicine. And on top of his disease coming back, he had some blood pressure issues.
Okay.
So those two factors kind of together caused his the transplanted kidney to start to begin to fail.
Right.
And so then in 2014, he had to have another kidney transplant.
Right. Well, that's pretty common, isn't it? Because kidney transplants in adults often don't last the whole life.
Well, you'd like to have lasted a little bit longer.
Well, sure.
We weren't ready to hear those
No,
words.
no.
You'd like about 15 to 20 years.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
But you deal with the cards that you're dealt.
You do,
and,
yeah.
And you take life and you move forward with it. And so that's what we did. And so we were blessed with the fact that with his first one, I was a match, and we were able to do that. And then with the second one, we had another live donor,
Okay.
Kelly's sister's husband.
Okay.
So his sister's husband was a perfect match for that
How
one.
about that?
I know. So, you kind of see God's handiwork in many different areas of your
Yeah,
life, like
yeah.
way before you're even thinking about those things. And so,
Well, hang on for just a second, because I think you just flew right by something that I know about you, but I'm not sure that everyone else would understand. So you donated the kidney to Kelly in the first transplant.
did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not actually terribly common for a spouse to be able to donate in that way.
Yes.
So how did that transpire? Was that something that was a surprise to everyone?
well, with Kelly, and he was pretty lucky in the fact that he didn't have any other health issues besides the kidney disease.
Right.
Sometimes with people, they might have diabetes, or they may have other issues that cause your body to have other health issues.
Right.
And so his antibodies are pretty, were able to, I don't want to misword it, but he was able to accept things better than other people may have, because he wasn't fighting against other areas.
Right, because he hadn't had a lot of blood transfusions, which is very common with
Right,
this
or
disease.
dialysis.
Right.
And
Okay,
so,
good.
And he has common blood type, right? And so we really were just going on a lot of faith and a lot of prayer, and we just said, if I was a match, that was what it was meant to be, and so that's the route we went, and just happened to be what worked out.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And that lasted for, you said?
About 10 years.
About 10 years, okay,
Yes.
so that's good. And the second one, how long ago was that now?
2014.
2014. So we're only 4 years, almost 5 years into that.
Yes.
So hopefully another 10, 15 years at least, right?
Right.
With
And
number two.
the great thing about that kidney disease that he has is with a new transplanted kidney, the odds of it coming back go back to 10%, and
Right.
only 5% of it attacking that new kidney. So we're holding on to that, like 5%, that this one
This one's
just
good.
keep on rolling.
Yeah, this one's good. Good.
Pot-
So just because not everyone will know this, what does your husband do now?
He is the Pike basketball coach
Yes.
and athletic director,
He is.
so he's very busy.
He's extraordinarily busy right now, and his team is ranked in the nation right now.
Yes, and you asked
I
me
know
that,
the number,
I'm
but
not
you might not.
It's in the top 20, I know.
It is.
Is
He's
it 15?
16. He's,
Okay.
at least as of the last coach's poll, he was number
Okay.
16 in the nation, which is
So
good.
don't show him this,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that
Oh,
number.
no. We'll never tell him this. Yeah, 16 in the nation right
That's
now. You
awesome.
thought they were better, which is exactly what a wife should think. So
Exactly.
that was perfect.
He works
Very well
really
done.
hard at it, and he takes it very seriously, and he loves what he does,
I
and
know.
so, yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
But we're not really here to talk about
I know.
Kelly. So you, for many years, you taught in the elementary school here, right?
Yes, I taught 12 years as a fifth grade teacher here at Pikeville Elementary.
And all of the subjects that exist in fifth grade, or were you a specialist in one area?
Reading, for most of the time I taught reading, and then the last few years I did reading and writing.
Very
and
good.
a little bit of social studies.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and they can't see this, but one of the technicians who's working here is actually one of your students.
Yeah.
And he said you
That's
were a great
awesome.
teacher.
Well, I appreciate him saying that. I'm not sure he would have said that if he'd known I was coming. Do you think? Yes.
He's nodding his head, just for
He is.
people who can't see, that he really enjoyed you as a teacher.
Yeah.
But
that's
then,
always good to know, though.
I know, it is.
Yeah.
I taught for a long time too, so I feel the same way when a student says that they really enjoyed the class.
Special. It's
I don't
sweet.
know about you, but I can never remember what grade I gave them, so I just assume they all got A's.
Yes, exactly.
I know it's probably not right, but I assume that. But I think this last year you started
Yes.
a new adventure.
In the fall.
Yeah, and so tell us what you're doing now.
So, assistant principal at Pikeville High School.
And you have a bit of a historic distinction in that role, I think.
Well, I'm only the second female
That's right.
to be an administrator at Pikeville High School.
Yeah, and I had lunch with the superintendent of Pikeville High School.
Jerry Green.
And he said that he was just thrilled to have a female administrator
Wow.
in that high school building and that you're doing a fantastic job.
Well, that was nice of him.
Well, he's pretty impressed with what you do, I think. So that's good news, and I think something that we've needed for a long time.
I do appreciate that, yeah.
So talk to me a minute about how that job helps you to model being a woman who's a leader for the young women that we have here in Appalachia.
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, I'm not sure that, I mean, I hope that that job helps me to model for the young women, but I also think in my classroom, I think I started there,
I think
you
so
know,
too, right.
modeling for the young women, you know, working in and out every day and touching the lives of young females that came, you know, in and out of my classroom.
Sure.
And, you know, just being the person that shaped them, molded them, encouraged them to be the best that they were supposed to be,
Right.
you know, within that role, because you're interacting with them every day, you know, in a close-knit environment
Right.
there. And then now showing them more of a leadership role where you're being consistent, you're being fair, you're pushing them to be the best they can be at an older age,
Right.
you know, and leading them to reach those goals and sending them out into the world later on, you know. I mean, I think there's every level of that, hopefully being consistent with them, you know, and just being who I am, you know. I mean, I try to be as visible as I can every day.
That's right.
You know, in the hallways and within their classrooms, and not only being visible, but speaking to them and talking to them and reaching out to them, you know, knowing what's going on with them within their days, you know, not just being there, but connecting with the students and especially the females. Because, you know, part of my job as an administrator and, like you said, as a female, is to show girls that there's someone who you can relate to and that there's someone you can talk to
Right.
and that there's someone who doesn't always have it together.
Right, sure.
You know,
Yeah.
but that even if you don't have it together every day, that you can achieve certain goals and certain things, and you know that I'm there for them.
Right.
And it's important. I mean, you know, like I said, I came from the mountains, and I came from, you know, I have wonderful parents, but I came from a divorced home.
Right.
You know, and they were both still involved in my life, but I came from a divorced home, and I came from a home where, you know, I was going to have to work hard to get through college, and part of that was the working hard effort was, how am I going to pay for it? And that was me getting out there and figuring out, you know, both my parents pushed me, and they both came to all my sporting events, but I knew that it was going to be hard to pay for it.
Right.
And so part of that working hard was to get to earn that scholarship and to earn that for myself, but also for them.
So how
And
do
so-
you use that? Because what you've just described is really at the essence of grit. And how do you use your own story to to work with the young women and young men too,
Right.
to speak into their lives and help them to develop that same kind of grit so that they can find their own path.
Well, I think you just have to keep telling it.
Right.
I think you have to keep sharing it. And it starts with them at home first.
Sure.
You know, I mean, starts within our kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we try to teach our kids, first off, if you got a dream, you got to work hard. It doesn't just fall in your lap.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, you don't just hope for something. You know, Kelly and I say all the time, you know, you can't just hope for it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to work for it. And so then that has to carry over to the classroom. When we got so many kids who have so many opportunities for academic scholarships and athletic scholarships, and there's so many, you know, just different things out there for kids. They just have to know where to go find it. And
That's
you know, our counselors are such an important role within our schools because
Mm-hmm.
they know of so many different things for our kids to go out and like look for and search for, and just showing them that those things are attainable.
Right.
I think is just allowing them to see it, to visualize it, I think is a big part of getting over that hump, is just to helping them to see it.
You know, one of the things that I've really come to appreciate living here in Appalachia for a few years is the very tight-knit nature of families that we have here. And I wonder if that family, that closeness of family contributes to that sense of grit. Have you found that to be true?
I think so. I think that families want their kids to, you know, sometimes want their kids to work hard and to show them how to work hard and to show
Right.
them where that is. But then I sometimes think too, because of that tight-knit family, I do see this, that sometimes families don't want them to leave.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, right.
And I think that's okay. I think that's okay for kids to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they see things, but then I think it's important for them to want to come back here and be successful here.
Right, right.
But I think it's important for them to see different things, but then we want Appalachia to continue to grow
Mm-hmm.
and to continue to be successful. And it's important for kids to go and see what's out there and then bring back to, you know, us here some of the things that they've learned and grown and gotten educated about and continue to help us grow here as well.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I think that I don't think I want kids to migrate away and to stay
And
away.
stay away, right.
You know, I think that's what most parents would probably say, that they don't want them to leave and to not come back, because this is a wonderful place. And,
I think so
and we
too,
want, you know,
yes.
we want to stay, and we want to have families that stay. And yet there's something special about stepping away for a period of time and experiencing the world and bringing back with you the best pieces of that.
I agree.
So, and you lived in Hawaii for a while and in other places. So what would you say you picked up in those other cultures, because Hawaii's quite different than here,
Yeah.
that you've brought back and you think is of value in this culture?
You know what? I think the appreciation of what you have here.
Right.
I think sometimes you have to see it in a different light. I think that's one thing.
Right.
I mean, because sometimes, you know, you hear people say, well, I don't want this and I don't want that. But I think, like I said, like you come back and you see the beauty around you that maybe you didn't see before.
Right.
But I think every place has its own sense of beauty. You know, people would say, well, why did you come here? Why did you move back here whenever you lived in Hawaii? You know, Hawaii is a beautiful place all on its own.
It is.
But I think here is a beautiful place all on its own too. And I think there's such unique opportunities here for us, and the mountains in the fall. Oh my goodness!
Right, right.
I
It's
mean,
a great place.
yeah.
I like them in the spring. I think spring's my favorite time of year here, I think.
You know, I mean, I just think that sometimes you have to see things differently.
Yeah.
And you know, and just different stuff that and when you move away, and like you said, you know, different places have different, you know, Hawaii's a different place, but it had, you know, the family there's really tight knit there,
It is.
but not like here.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's
And
different, sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
And I just think that in and of itself, I think you have to kind of sometimes step outside the box to see the things you should appreciate the most
Right.
when you come back.
Rusty Justice was just here a little while ago, and we were talking about what he thinks is one of the biggest challenges in Appalachia, and that is people who, for some reason, buy into what people outside of Appalachia say about Appalachia, and don't think that they're smart enough or good enough or creative enough. And of course, Rusty just rejects all that nonsense, and I agree with him. We should
me too.
reject it.
Yeah.
Do you see that at all in working with high school students? Do you see that sense of, gosh, I'm just a young person from Central Appalachia, I can't really do that?
I don't see it within our school.
Good.
I don't, but
Okay.
now, I mean, we have a wonderful school. I mean, Pikeville High School is an amazing place. I mean,
It
we're
is.
7 through 12, and we have an amazing school. I mean, the culture within our school is that of success.
So tell me how you, and you've just arrived there, I know, just a few months ago and inherited some of that, but talk about how you guys intentionally build that kind of culture of success so that kids don't feel like they have a self-concept issue. Talk about some of those things.
I mean, like you said, I mean, and it's been there. I mean, I've been there 12 years.
Right.
You know, and
Well, that's true. You've been there for a long time. in the
yeah,
school
you know,
system.
and it's a small school system. You know, we have the elementary school and we have the high school, and it's always had a tradition of success. You know, it's been there over 100 years. You know, a couple of years ago they just
Right.
celebrated their 100 years. And
It's amazing, isn't it?
it is amazing. And from the first year I taught in the elementary school, there's something different. And the difference is the expectation of success.
Right.
And the
How does that play out? Because I agree with you. So setting that high expectation is important. How does that play out day to day?
day to day, well, I think some of the ways that, well, the teachers,
Right.
I mean, like, you know, the number one success factor is the teachers. I mean, they're doing it within the classrooms. They're setting those expectations, and they're the most successful thing about our schools is the teachers and their expectations, and then the procedures that are happening within those classrooms, and the culture that's been built over time.
Right.
You know, that this is what we do, this is how we do it, and it's cool to get A's here. I mean, like, you know, we're getting straight A's, and that's what's cool about being here. And we are, you know, our district's number 3 in the whole state in ACT scores.
That's
And we're
fantastic.
celebrating it.
Yeah, that's
you know,
fantastic.
the kids are celebrating it.
Right.
And they're excited about that. And
So I'm going to pause for just a second
Okay.
because this is something that might be lost on people. So here we are in the heart of Central Appalachia in an area that is economically challenged because of problems with the industries that have been here for a long time and a transitioning economy and all the rest of that. And yet the local high school scores the 3rd highest average on ACTs in the state.
yeah.
I mean, we've got Lexington and Louisville and Northern Kentucky and a lot of really great places, and we're 3rd highest in the state. That's a culture that needs to be replicated outside of Appalachia.
Exactly. Yeah. And the kids are, you know, and teachers are pushing in the classroom, and the kids are accepting that push.
Right.
And they're and that's exciting for them.
It's living
And
up to the challenge, isn't
exactly.
it?
Yeah. And they're setting that standard, and they're meeting it.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes my job easy.
Well, it does in some ways, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, because I've lived here for a little while, that that we have all the kids who are in the district, but we also have a pretty good group of kids who live outside the district and actually pay to come to school
Exactly,
at a
yes.
public school because of the high quality and the high standards. And I think that's just an amazing story
Yes.
to me.
Yes. And
Yeah.
we're excited to have it. I mean, like, we have, like I said, we have a great school, we have great students, we have great staff, and
So-
can't say enough about it.
Every high school has programs of some kind that, about which they're especially proud. Can you talk about the ones at Pikeville High School that you're really proud
All of them.
Well, sure, but so let's go through a list of maybe some. I don't want to say favorites because an assistant principal should not have favorites, but some that you'd like to bring to the forefront and just talk about as being
Yeah.
really outstanding.
Well, I
programs.
mean, our academic team is always, you know, one of the top. You know, we just won the district,
Yep.
you know, this past weekend, you know, and they're always top in the district, and then the region, you know, and they
Right.
work extremely hard. I mean, you know, for practice time outside of school, they put the time in, you know, they practice just as much as any or more athletic team does.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that's always great to brag about.
Oh yeah, we
you
host
know.
a big event on campus for them every spring, and it's always
Yes,
fun to watch.
It's
them.
always fun.
It
yeah,
is.
Yeah. And we're just now starting back up our drama
Okay,
club,
good.
which is great. They're doing
That feeds into the drama minor we have here, and hopefully major someday. So
Yes, and so
good.
they're doing their first performance in March, Cat and Hat. So they've
very
been
good.
working on that. Yes.
Okay.
We just started, which I know you all now have, a new e-club, which I think's great.
For esports?
Yes.
What game are they playing? Do you know?
No, I do not.
Are they a League of Legends?
Yes, I believe that's one.
Well,
I
that's
know
the big.
you probably
No,
know.
I'm seeing nods from around the room. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the collegiate game that everyone plays right now.
Yes.
It's not. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak, but it's not a game that would be really popular in like the gaming industry. But it has become the competitive game of college esports.
Yeah. And
so good. I'm glad to hear that because that's more athletes for us.
Yeah, which I think's neat. You know, of course, our cheerleaders are national champs.
Yep.
I want to say 4th year in a row. I'm not really. I want to say that
Yeah.
they're getting ready to go to.
It's been quite a while. Yeah, they're very good.
They're getting ready to go to nationals next weekend, not this weekend, but next, to compete for their 5th nationals in a row. I might
That's
be misspeaking on that one,
yeah.
but our seniors, I want to say they freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and this is their senior year. They may have won it their. I think that's right. They won it their 8th grade year, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. So national champs that many years in a row.
That's fantastic.
Yes, that's.
You must have some good tumblers and other things in that
And
group.
now that's a lot of time that they're putting in.
It
you
is,
know,
yeah.
time, you know, that they're doing. You know, and so that's pretty
Absolutely.
impressive as well. So you know.
So any new initiatives around computer programming or anything like that going on?
We do have some computer classes that we're offering, you
Right.
know, that web design. I know that Mr. Blackburn knows web design, game design, within the school day.
Right.
You know, but I don't know about computer programming.
Okay, sure.
But he may. I mean, that's just something I may not know.
Right, that's okay.
You know, yeah.
That's good. All right.
We have a lot of AP courses that we offer that
Good.
Qualify for.
And students taking those exams and doing well, I'm
Yes.
assuming.
We have dual courses that we have.
Dual credit courses, sure.
Yeah, the
that's,
students come up here. And,
that's a very big deal in the Commonwealth, isn't it?
Yeah, it
to have
is.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. All right. Well, I'm seeing my flash over there. Let's
Okay.
pause for a little break. When he gets up, it means that it's time for break usually. So.
You're listening to Appalachia Rising, presented by the University of Pikeville.
Welcome back to Appalachia Rising. We have with us Shawne Wells, and we've been talking about education in the public schools and some of the new programs and other things that have been going on there in Pikeville High School. But I want to shift the conversation just a little bit back to the idea of transplantation, because I know that there's a cause that's really near to you because of Kelly's situation. So can you talk a little bit about organ transplantation and why that's important?
Yeah, so since Kelly's, organ transplant and or kidney transplant and all that we've been through, we just try to find every opportunity that we can to ask people to sign their donor registry anytime they have their license renewed, and to just be an organ donor and to try to save as many lives as they can by doing that.
That's
and
right.
we feel like that everybody has a cause and everybody goes through things for a reason,
Right.
and that this is our reason, our cause, and that we take that on as, really important opportunity for us. And so we try to, every time we have a speaking engagement or we're on something or where we are, we try to have, take an opportunity to send out that plug and,
Right.
and take that as an important responsibility.
Because the list is long, right? Especially
list
for
is long.
kidneys and for liver transplants and other transplants, of course. The list is a long thing.
And tissue, when you sign that, you're saying you're due organ and tissue.
That's right.
And so there's always someone who has a need.
There are,
and,
yeah, certainly.
Ways you can save lives.
That's right.
So.
And there's something you might not know about me. Back when I was in graduate school, I actually worked in an organ transplant lab.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I did not do the testing, but all of the clinicians who were in the lab with us did all of the cross-matching and all of the tissue typing, and so we're very familiar with that.
That's
We
neat.
did that for a long
Yeah.
time. So I'll reiterate what you said. Organ, signing that donor card is a really important thing. I've done it way back because of working in the lab and seeing, the wonderful stories that emerge because
come
of
from
that.
it, yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
really do.
Yeah. And if you feel, if people feel apt to be a live donor,
Right.
I always say God gave me 2 kidneys, so I give one away.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and most people don't know you really only need about half of one kidney to be alive.
Yeah.
So.
I'm
Yeah.
still walking, breathing.
That's right. It's a
Living.
really efficient organ.
It is. So.
Yeah, so it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks for being with me
Well,
today.
thank you for having
It's
me.
great to have you here, and
Yeah.
I hope all the best in all of your future endeavors. And let's root for that kidney to go for another 25, 30 years.
Let's do
All
it.
right?
I
Okay.
appreciate you having me.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Shawne.
you.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Appalachia Rising. For more information on this episode or others, visit www.upike.edu/Appalachia Rising.